So this is the second time that I came out here to work with Nevada. It's really, really windy. I almost did not come. But the first day, he really came around good. So there's like really interesting things about him that will make me create like a special program for him. This may be different than a lot of horses, and one is that he is a stallion, so he doesn't like run away from me like a normal wild horse would, like a gelding or a mare maybe, or a young horse. Like he's more apt to prance around in a circle and come, see, look at this, and come bowing up on you. He gets that neck all bowed up and gets as big as he can, and he'll come up to you, which is really interesting. His nose is fairly tame. I was able to touch his nose and his face and his neck, and then I was able to get a halter on him. I worked with him for about 5 hours, so I got a halter on him, and I loose tied him to the fence and walked around behind him. I pulled the rope off the fence, I think twice, and then he figured out to be tied. And I would walk back and forth behind him to get him used to me being back there as the very first step in getting close to his body, because his face is quite tame. His nose is quite tame because he's using that to block me away from his body. But his body is quite wild, and the farther you get back on his body, the wilder he gets. See, now he'll use his nose to block me. See how he arches up? Instead of running away, he'll come toward me. That's definitely a stallion tendency. And anyway, I'm trying to strengthen his eyes. I'm just now getting here, so I haven't been around here at all today. Just now when I turned the camera on. It'll take him a little while to get used to me again. He's kind of not really wild anymore. He's like wild-ish. See how he arches up? That's like a stallion. So you're dealing with a stallion, the energy of a stallion and the energy of a wild horse, or at least a half wild horse at this point. He has been just kept in corrals by different people, by shuffle from person to person for quite a few years. So he hasn't actually been out on the prairie for some time. So he's not quite as wild as something that just came off of the BLM range, but he is a BLM Mustang. You'll see his, you can see that he does have a brand. So there's a couple ways. What you can do is help them strengthen their eyes so that they can actually be tame, because they have left brain, right brain, left hand, right hand, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of times I like to massage their face. That's like one of the very first steps. I was massaging his face the other day because that helps them realize and understand that they actually have two sides, and it's like they have two brains actually, in a way. They have a left brain and a right brain. So giving them nose and face massages helps, it's like you're sewing their brain together. And you can draw a line between their eyes with your finger and just go back and forth and back and forth. And that helps strengthen both sides of their body. So it's all about being able to touch their entire body and them being comfortable and not striking out or kicking you. And their head is a really good place to start. Now some wild horses can give you their head fairly easy, like this guy. And then some horses are so wild. I have had horses that are so wild, the only thing they could give me was their rear end. So I get a super long pole and start to touch their rear end first. But their face is preferable. See how he just comes up. He pushes up instead of runs away. Stallions are front end fighters. They're offensive. They will push up with their head. They'll strike with their front. They'll bite you. And that's why a lot of people don't recommend working with studs. A lot of people don't like to, because they are such a front end fighter, and they are such an offensive creature, because their duty, their job in nature is to take care of their family. So I like to go like this. I like to take my hand and my fingers and go from eye to eye. See how he's trying to block me from going to his left side? He also blocked me with his nose from going to his right side. So he's defending his body from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start drawing this little line across his forehead. And I'm going to start to desensitize both eyes. So I'm trying to strengthen both eyes to about the same strength. Is what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to do a figure 8 around his eyes and massage his face. Love on him a little bit. See, he's standing with his nose here. His nose is fairly tame. His face is fairly tame. But if I move around this way, he'll start to block me with his nose. Here he goes. Oops, see there? He's blocking me. He's wanting to leave. Because his body, anything past his face right here is really still quite wild. So that's what I'll be working with today. And I'll tell you what I end up doing. I'm sure I'll get a halter on him here pretty quick and tie him to the post and walk around behind him for a while until he gets used to that. See, he can do it just right here on his face, but as soon as you start to go back a little bit, on either side, he's wanting to block me with his head. See this? He's blocking me with his head, his nose. All right, so I'm going to let this video go.